How do you want to die? NSFW.
Quickly. I don't want to suffer and put money into keeping myself alive. When my time comes, I'm going to accept it and just wish it would be quick and I won't notice.
Without knowing what hit me. Honestly. Just gone. I don't want to know that I'm dying. Like a bullet to the head, and even that doesn't provide a 100% chance.
A smooth criminal. Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
No. I've been struck by, a smooth criminal.
Honestly, sleeping.
Part of me wants to die painlessly in my sleep. The other part of me wants to die mysteriously so I get a murder mystery podcast about me.
Turning off my robot body when I can no longer sustain myself on the last bits of energy in a dying, ancient universe.
My battery is low and it's getting dark.
Well, if I got to pick, I suppose while standing in a room full of my mortal enemies, my head explodes in Evil Dead fashion and bees swarm out of the neck hole.
Why bees? I'm just curious.
Cheaper than hornets.
Less effective though. You get far more sting per insect, SPI, out of hornets. Way more effective and satisfying. Bees will sting you until they're dead. Hornets will sting you until you're dead. It's that simple.
I can't believe they didn't consider the SPI thing. Amateurs.
Like my daddy always said, you see a bee, remember SPI.
The nicest death I have ever heard of was from a long-deceased friend of my grandparents. He celebrated his 80th birthday, invited a good number of his best friends to his home and they all had a great time. They ate, talked and even danced, and after everyone went home, the old man fell asleep in his favorite chair. Since this happened every once in a while, his wife put a blanket on him and went to sleep. By the next day he had passed peacefully in his sleep from a heart attack. I think that is certainly one of the best ways to go.
Peacefully from a heart attack? What?
Cardiac nurse here. Not all heart attacks cause chest pain. In fact, a lot of women who have heart attacks just report vaguely feeling worn down or like they're coming down with something.
Accurate. I had a heart attack in 2019, but I'm a guy. I thought I had the flu, but it was full-blown sepsis. I suffer from extreme anxiety, but something told me to call 911 that day. They pulled an EKG and boom, heart attack. Chest pain wasn't even that bad. I have worse chest pain from just general anxiety.
Kinda wanna just be evaporated out of cosmic existence by an Edel-rich deity beyond human comprehension, you know?
I don't know, it's beyond my comprehension.
Former inmates of Reddit, what is prison really like compared to what they show on television? NSFW.
It's really boring. Yup. And I'd say most of the arguments, fights, beef, etc. was just a result of pure boredom. You can only play so much cards, watch so much TV, or work out so much, before you just get fed up with the monotony and want to pull your hair out, or someone else's.
After the fight ends, do they respect each other again?
Either A, both of them get hauled off to the hole, B, they fight it out, nobody bats an eye and they keep their distance, C, one of them doesn't come back out the room.
I find it interesting that the A-hole and the B-hole are the same hole.
USA, the food tastes great. You hear prison food is horrible, haha, but no really, it's horrible. Place smelled like dog poop when I got in. Kinda weird, not that it stinks but that it isn't sweat and bathroom smell. Nah, that's dog poop smell. I'm a purveyor of cheap food. I've gone to great lengths to see how cheap I can find food I deem eatable. I've eaten the cheapest garbage that dollar stores refuse to sell, cooked in the worst ways possible because it can't go to waste. Nothing I've ever eaten rates lower than everything I ever ate in prison. It defies everything your brain and body know about food and is the first step in the process to break your mind down from human being to less than animal. Smells like dog poop because the nutritional quality is the equivalent of bottom dollar dry dog food and basic cleaning and sanitization products aren't available. Even if you're a nice clean person and for some technicality the guards will treat you like a dog in a cage they're paid to watch that does funny things sometimes. If they let you out the door free and innocent, you're on your own. Bus stop is 4 miles away. You need a cab? Oh, phone's inside. No, you can't come back in. Bye. Prisons are like exactly what kids describe the horrors of school life as, but with no teachers, and the staff isn't instructed to teach you, they're instructed to punish you without torturing you. And it's 24 hours a day, everything is concrete, no sunlight, and basically no objects or stimulus anywhere.
My job requires me to visit 2 area prisons occasionally. I think it's interesting that you mentioned the smell. I can't stand it. You are right in that it's not a bathroom or sweat smell. I don't get dog poop, but I am constantly rubbing my nose and trying to breathe through my mouth when I'm in there. The smell is smothering.
I have had to work in a prison on a couple occasions. It depended on the cell block, but some of them smelled so bad, just bad. It's just a tiny bit of poop, stale sweat, gym sock, BO and whatnot mixed into one lovely aroma.
I had a buddy who was in for about 3 years for marriage fraud. He said there is a lot less fighting than he thought. Turns out people just want to do their time and leave. Fighting adds time to your sentence, so they generally avoid it. He was in low security though initially, moved to medium after a fight. Ironic, so maybe it's worse in prisons with more lifers.
Very boring with some randomly exciting parts. I was in a female prison, so my experience is different than most. A lot of cliques and little groups as well. As weird as this sounds, a lot more sex than what's shown in the media. Sex between inmates and sex with guards.
In our county, new deputies' first assignment out of the academy is in the jails. They take several classes beforehand. One of the instructors would tell the class that odds are, one of you in this class will be caught fraternizing with an inmate. That's how often it happens. The whole class usually laughs at the idea. But it happens all the time.
Yep, not surprised. Stick some men and women together and they'll bang. Even among us girls. So many said they are no lesbian or bi. Just wanted companionships and to feel good. So we slept with each other.
I've never been to prison, but jail was just boring. The worst part was all the noise that echoed off the brick walls.
When you see an armored car courier at a business, what are your first thoughts?
All the times I got away after killing them and stealing the money on GTA.
I also think of GTA. LOL.
Yeah, sticky bombs.
A few years ago, as I was leaving work, there was a Brinks truck that apparently had broken down in front of an adjacent business. They'd brought in some big flatbed trailer tow truck to haul it away, but no other security of any kind. I'm looking at them winching it on, thinking, slowest heist ever.
Usually they send another truck, park them ass to ass and move the money from one truck to the other, so the tow truck is hauling an empty truck, and the money still gets to the banks in a timely manner.
Thank God I don't do that anymore.
What didn't you like about it?
For context, most of my stops were in downtown Boston. First, at the time we were issued 38 special revolvers and not allowed to carry anything else. Second was the volume of stops, upwards of 40 per day, and we were always hustling to complete them all before the banks closed. Third was the impossibility of maintaining situational awareness when unloading, say, 20 boxes of quarters on a busy city street. By the company's own rules, we were supposed to have a third man with a shotgun on every truck, but we never did. All this for $11/hour.
Yep. We switched from wheel guns to semi-autos in 2007. Went from 18 total rounds to 46 overnight. Was a great feeling.
Mismatched ammo, too. After a few weeks of bullshitting with the other guys, it became obvious that a backup gun was the norm. My solution, since fall was underway, was to buy a shoulder holster and conceal my Beretta 92Fs under my uniform shirt. I figured I'd just Hulk open the shirt and never even bother with the S and W.
Yep, normally a combination of the cheap range ammo and the spear gold dot. Mainly because our firearms trainer was a moron and the boss was a cheaphead who didn't understand ballistics. Let me make sure I don't look like a threat.
Yup. Make it very obvious I am giving them a wide berth and probably making myself look even more suspicious.
That they are just people doing a job for not a lot of money, and if I have any jokes, just keep them to myself. They've heard them all before.
Redditors who waited until marriage to have sex, what was your wedding night like? NSFW.
We were both exhausted after the reception and agreed it would be better to wait. The next day, at our hotel, we started to go at it when someone from the hotel knocked on the door. We didn't put the Do Not Disturb sign up, so he started to come in. I jumped up, threw on the robe and intercepted him at the door. He handed me a giant fruit basket that my parents had sent us. So, our first time was interrupted by my parents.
At least it wasn't directly interrupted by your parents? Lol.
Just checking if you kids are doing it right.
We took 167 bobby pins out of my hair, then fell asleep.
We didn't fall asleep, but we were still finding bobby pins the next morning.
I had surgery 3 weeks prior to our wedding to remove a testicular cancer, and was also in my first week of chemo to wipe out the rest of the cancer. We made an effort to have sex after the longest day of my life. I could barely stand during the wedding ceremony. I ended up busting a stitch near my crotch and bleeding everywhere. 7/10 toe. Would bust the stitch again. 9 years cancer-free now, and 2 kids to boot. Yeah.
You realize no woman would ever say busting a stitch in her hair was ever worth the sex? We men truly do only think with our junk. Either way, glad you are cancer-free.
Indeed we do. Especially after 2 years of near-constant sexual frustration.
Not great, TBH. It had been an extremely long day with the traveling, wedding, reception and everything involved. By the time we got to the hotel, we were exhausted. We made an effort because, hey, we finally can, right? But it didn't go well. The next day after some sleep was much better.
Premature.